Hey guys, what's up? Unrested back again. Today we're going to get into something I've kind of talked about in the past. Things that gaijin do that piss off Japanese people or just kind of make them uncomfortable. We kind of talked about things you could end up doing in public or just like irrational ways to act. But today we're kind of talking about manners instead. Just manners that you should be aware of. Some of these you might know, but some of them are a little more obscure that you're just kind of like, oh, I did not know that. This is good to know just when you're traveling there or staying there long term. It'll just make you fit in a little bit better everywhere you go, socially, at work, in a company meeting, maybe even just going about everyday life of being a tourist in Japan. You don't want to be that guy. And this is pretty much what I'm going to talk to you about right now. So, starting out first is with business. Mustache or beard? I know this sounds weird, but having a mustache or a beard is frowned upon. This actually goes back to like a old samurai Bushido code type stuff. The only person who was allowed to have a beard or a mustache was usually the head shogunate, and the only other people who weren't were maybe like the local samurai who kept the peace, who kind of acted like the cops or the keisatsu within the area of the village. But other than that, most of the villagers were not allowed to have mustaches or beards. It's also seen as a sign as kind of like superiority to wear one to work. So if your boss doesn't have one and then you're touting a beard or a mustache, they may not be too happy about it, but they might not speak to you about it. And that always kind of leaves you in this like awkward space where you're doing something wrong, you're pissing people off, you don't know exactly what it is. And the Japanese are usually too polite to get up in your face and tell you like, hey, just so you know, like, boss doesn't like mustaches or beards. I know it sounds crazy. They also see it sometimes as unclean or unkempt, especially if you don't do like a really nice trim. You definitely don't want to have like the neck beard thing going on, or just like if you have like an uneven sort of growth on your face. Not always a great thing for Japan. They like that shaved off real quick. So, guys, just be aware, okay? I'm not justifying it or saying it's right. I'm just telling you the brass tacks of it. Tattoos at pools, ceremonies, or onsens. We've probably talked about this before. But of course, tattoos are still frowned on as far as Japanese all different types of situations are concerned. The craziest one to me, and I will always think this is totally insane, is that you can't have tattoos at giant public pools. They will make you wear long sleeves. And guess what? You're not going to be the only person wearing long sleeves. Japanese people tend to wear a lot of swimming clothes to swim. It's very odd to me. Even to go to the ocean too, like they'll wear these full entire suits that include hats and even like, aqua socks and stuff like that. They rarely go out in just like trunks, just a bikini. This rare for the Japanese. And you will be asked to put on a long sleeve sort of rash guard looking water shirt for the pool if you have tattoos on your arms. You have to have them all covered up, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I never liked going to the pool in Japan because I never felt like I could relax. And ceremonies, of course, I think this is kind of more international. You should be wearing suits mostly to big ceremonies in Japan. Suits are something that will never have you overdressed in Japan. You're going to go to a funeral, you're going to go to a wedding, you're wearing a suit. So, of course, there's not tattoos at those. Onsens are kind of hit or miss as far as whether or not they make you or don't make you not go in for having tattoos. Usually there'll be a sign at the door that lets you know, especially in Tokyo or Osaka, that sign will be in English, but some places it will be completely in Japanese. Just check online. Usually before you go, they should have a website about their onsen where you can check if you can have tattoos there. If they say no tattoos, then guess what? You're just not going because you can't cover up. You can't wear clothes over top of your tattoos when it comes to an onsen. They won't let you in the onsen if you're wearing clothes. This is another one that some people may not be aware of. I don't think I ever did cover this before, but let's say you're going to like an izakaya or a diner or a restaurant, ramen place, whatever. In America, if you leave a bit of a mess, not a big deal. There is a job called the busboy that comes and cleans that up. That is their main job. They don't usually get tips like a waiter does, but they come and they clean up the table. That is their thing to do. There is no such job in Japan. So usually Japanese people are polite enough to kind of sweep away all their crumbs and stuff like that, make sure all their napkins are on their plate, put their chopsticks to the side, kind of clean up their table. If you leave a big crummy mess, nasty mess of stuff everywhere, the person who has to clean that up is a waiter who is usually getting paid very little bit of money and also not getting tipped. So that is seen as unsightly to do to them. Other customers at the place will be like, oh man, what a pig. I can't believe they left that for the waiter. And the waiter themselves, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to be like, hey man, clean up your stuff. But they're just going to be like, damn dude, what the hell? So don't be that guy. Don't represent us gaijin in that manner where you leave a massive mess for them to clean up when they're, barely making 1,000 yen an hour. Not great pay. Next one, I think probably most of you know this one, but being late. If you say you're going to meet somebody at a certain time, be there early, okay? Even as much as 15 minutes early is good. Don't be late for anything in Japan, especially if you have some kind of appointment where somebody's helping you with something, like you got a realtor showing you an apartment, you got a job opportunity coming up. You do not want to be late. That is not cool to do in Japan. Japanese people, Japanese buses, Japanese transportation, Japanese trains are timely. They are always on time. And I've had times where maybe something slowed me down and I wasn't there 5 minutes early, and people have called me and be like, are you still coming? And just like, yeah, the time hasn't passed yet. Traffic's horrendous. Just give me a chance. So, I mean, they're really very serious about it. I had one friend, I should just say an acquaintance. I don't know if we were friends, but he was really upset that he got fired because he was late to a job. He was late multiple times. He could not believe. He's like, dude, I was only like 2 to 3 minutes late every day. Like, big deal. Like, work hasn't even started yet. Like, we're usually like getting ready for work around that time. And why does that 2 to 3 minutes matter so much? And it's just like, when you get to Japan and you clock in, work starts. Like, you're working, okay? If you work a job in Japan, I would always recommend showing up like a couple minutes early to assure the boss that you're going to be there for the day. I used to show up at least 10 minutes early to my job. I know some people are like, oh, that sucks. You're not even getting paid for that time. Like, oh, well, I mean, when in Rome, it's definitely appropriate for you to always be on time. And yes, do not be shocked if you do get fired for being a couple minutes late every day. Those couple minutes add up to the Japanese. They will notice. You will be seen as, where's that guy today? Because the thing that they're wondering about too is that the trains can cause you to be late, and if they do cause you to be late, they will give you a special ticket on your way out that shows that the train caused you to be late. So if you're late all the time, they're just like wondering, like, is your train messed up? Like, are you actually coming today? Are you going to call in? Has there been some kind of accident? There's not an excuse for being late when it comes to your job in Japan. So please be aware of that. They take it very serious. Next one up is when you're sick, a mask, wearing it. I know you may be opposed. I know it sucks too, because like it makes the front of your face so hot. You're like breathing your own humidity onto yourself. And some of those masks, they can start to like wear on the back of your ears and the bridge of your nose as well. But if you're not wearing a mask when you get sick, it's kind of seen as like pretty gross and pretty bad manners. And it's not that the Japanese want you to wear a mask to worry about them. They want you to wear a mask so that you're not spreading whatever you've got to them. So when you are sneezing, when you are coughing, you're doing it into the mask. And if you are just openly coughing, even if you're covering it with like your elbow or your hand, that's seen as pretty gross to the Japanese. They're just kind of like, oh, dude, now you're going to touch everything on the train with that nasty hand you sneezed into? Disgusting. You will get some looks. The only thing I will say that is kind of weird that I've seen, this is kind of like a reverse play on the Japanese. Japanese, you should be aware of this. I've seen Japanese who are sick, and I guess they just like, some of them obviously can forget a mask sometimes, or like they got sick during the day and they didn't have a mask with them, so they have to wait till they get home to get their mask. they forget to cover their mouth when they sneeze or cough or whatever, like because they're not wearing a mask. Maybe it's out of habit. They're like just so used to like, if I sneeze or cough, the mask is going to cover it up. So they'll just like sneeze out into the open and just like, whoa, what are you doing? So Japanese people, be aware of that. It works in reverse, okay? Us gaijin are kind of like, whoa, you just like sneezed into the whole train. What are you doing? But you will see like, even like, this is mostly like the older crew. Even if they've forgotten a mask or they haven't been able to get to a store or like haven't been able to buy one, they'll just keep holding a napkin in front of their face all day, or like a handkerchief in front of their face all day till they can get to a store to buy one. They take it very serious. Here's a really annoying one that I've, as a gaijin foreigner, watched other foreigners do and been kind of pissed off along with the Japanese, is stopping in the middle of foot traffic. There's many places in Japan that are heavily trafficked. Roppongi, there is Shibuya Crossway in Tokyo, which I'm sure you've seen many images of. There is Shinsaibashi and Dotonbori in Osaka. And foot traffic is heavy shoulder-to-shoulder traffic in those areas. People who are lost or using their phone or maybe looking at GPS or reading some kind of tourist manual, take a step to the side, get up against the building, and let everybody pass through. Don't stop dead in the middle of foot traffic. That is ultra annoying. You will have a lot of people like, what are you doing? Trying to get around you and stuff like that. Do not stop in the middle of foot traffic. I think this is somewhat international, although I don't know if it's as many places around the world deal with the heavy foot traffic that Japan does. But man, when somebody does this, you're just like, dude, what are you doing? We got like 1 billion people behind you and you're stopping in the middle of the walkway. This will piss just about everybody off. People who've lived in Japan a long time, Japanese people, gaijin who are, expats living there on long-term visas and stuff. We will all be pissed off if you do this. Do not stop in the middle of the busiest ways. You will see people in Japan, there's two things that they love to do. There's either people who take a step to the side to smoke, maybe people who take a step to the side to look at their GPS, or the one I see the most recently is play that damn Pokemon game that they still love. That game is still going way strong in Japan, Pokemon Go. And they have places they will go to every day that there's some kind of special catch. Even those people will be very, very aware of the fact that they need to get off to the side to catch their Pokemon and let everybody pass through. Especially if there's like bike traffic too on top of the foot traffic, like you're really going to start to like not just make it kind of dangerous, but just really piss people off. Here's another small one that maybe you might not know if it's your first trip over to Japan. Using credit cards or debit cards. There is still a lot of mom and pop shops that cannot use them, even if you're in the big city of Tokyo or Osaka. And there's a reason behind that. People always just wonder, like, why can't you just get the credit card machine in here? Well, they get charged a percentage of what you buy. And every penny counts when it comes to these little mom and pop shops. And not only that, you have to pay a fee to use that machine as well. So to cut out one expense and also not have a percentage of what you're paying for taken off of the bill, they just never adopt a credit card or debit card machine, which I think is pretty understandable. Japan in general is a very cash-based society still to this day. I mean, if the craziest thing ever, if you buy a house and you have to put that down payment on, guess what? You'll be bringing that down payment in cash. I have had to withdraw and carry like tens of thousands of dollars in cash in a backpack to a closing deal on a house. It is insane. It's scary to carry that much. It's totally safe in Japan, but it's also absolutely nuts to me because you're not writing a check. There's no such thing as checks in Japan. Nobody's going to accept the check from America. And that's another thing too. Don't try to ever like bring a checkbook and pay for anything with checks. They will look at you like you are bringing funny money or paying with monopoly money. They'll look at you like you are absolutely nuts if you try to write a check in Japan. I don't think many people would try to do that these days, but even like a Western Union or money order or anything like that, it's just not used in Japan. Don't try to bring that to pay for anything. They're going to look at you like you are a crazy person. There is ways to send Western Union or receive Western Union, but it is a hassle. It is a massive hassle. Okay, last but not least, I want to just go over this one, is making small talk with people in public. Now, I'm not saying you can't ask people for directions. Actually, the Japanese people are really quite nice when you ask them for directions. But don't be surprised if they give you those directions completely in Japanese. And man, I have trouble following directions in English. And when people do it in Japanese, and they're like, okay, you just go down here, take a right here, and when you see the big movie theater, you're going to take a left next to that. And then when you get to the very end of the street, the stop sign next to that store there, that's where you're going to keep going straight, but then slowly take a curved left to the other side of the street and get over there. And once you're there, then you'll finally find your place. I'm just like, I maybe caught the first part of those directions in Japanese. I am so lost right now. It's okay. You can totally do that. You can ask for directions. Japanese people are very happy to help you with that. I've had people literally be like, okay, come walk with me. I'll show you where to go. So they're very, very polite about that. But small talk, I'm talking about, like, let's say you're waiting in line to pay for something. At the grocery store in America, people might chat and be like, oh man, this weather is crazy today. And you're like, yep, that rain will not stop. If you start to do that in Japan, people are going to be like, they might be like, oh, okay, yeah. And then they want to go right back to like minding their own business. Kind of when Japanese people are out on their own, especially by themselves too, not in a group, they want to kind of make their own little world for themselves. Hence, when you see them get on the train, they get onto that phone and stare down into it like it is their own little world. They bring their, switches onto the train. They have a newspaper, magazine, book, whatever, and they lock into that and make their own little world for a little while to escape the noise, the bustle of the city, slow down just for a bit and focus on something outside of the crazy world that is Japan and its constant moving apparatus of everyone being a cog in the wheel of productivity, manufacturing, business, salaryman life. So don't bother them. Don't bother them, especially if you try to make small talk in English. That will make them ultra uncomfortable. And it's not that they hate you for speaking English or they hate you for being a foreigner. It's the fact that they're really afraid they're going to say something rude. It's very easy to end up being rude with what level of language you're using in Japanese is, as far as polite language, business language, or casual talk, keigo, or tenego, polite language. I'm sure you've seen that there's two different types. There's a type that you use at your job and a type you use like with your friends or on the street. They don't know that. Most people don't know. They're like, is there like different levels of politeness in English? I don't want to say the wrong thing. Please don't put me on the spot like this. So you'll make them ultra uncomfortable if you start asking them stuff in English, or just even saying stuff like, wow, today's weather is so great. I love going out. What's a good place to go to, you think, around here? They'd be like, "Sumimasen, eigo dekinai." Like they're just going to like, no, sorry, excuse me, sorry, but I don't speak English. Please leave me alone. And you may notice this when you sit on a train and like the whole row clears out. No one wants to sit next to you. It's not that they're anti-foreigner. It's that they've probably had an experience in the past where someone did sit down there and try to strike up a conversation. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And that's just Japanese life. That's just the way they live their life. And it's not them trying to like point to you or be racist. Some people are like, oh, racist, move away from the seat just because I sit down. No, they're just afraid you're going to ask them a question and they have to answer it in English. Like, even if you ask them directions completely in English, it's going to make them uncomfortable. If you're like, hey, sorry, where is this? They're going to be like, simasen, wakaranai. Like, they're just, sorry, what? I don't understand. What are you asking me? Like, they don't even know you're asking them directions. Because you got to remember, English literacy, English speaking is the lowest in all of Asia in Japan, still to this day. So do not put them on the spot. And you might be okay in Tokyo to ask random people for directions, but don't try it anywhere else. You're just going to make somebody uncomfortable. And definitely don't try to do the small talk, okay? I've seen gaijin do this and stuff before, where they sit down at a bus stop or they're in line at a store or they're like on the train and they're like, wow, this place is really busy today, huh? And the person's like, I don't hear you. I don't see you. You're not here. Like, they just make people like super uncomfortable when they do that, and you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be making the Japanese uncomfortable. So there you go. There are some quick tips on just like, mind your manners. Think about it. You're in a different country. Try to learn a little bit about the culture and the traditions. I want to just take this time right now to say thank you to everybody who's been joining the streams. I also want to let you know that if you haven't checked it out already, Osoroshi Nights is my new channel with all the scary stories from Japan. I will make sure to comment on my own channel from the Osoroshi channel to make sure you can find it. Please check out that too if you're interested in more than just the tips, tricks, J-facts, and guides to tradition and culture on this channel, but also want to check out some of the folklore and scary stories that come from Japan. That's Osoroshi Nights. Osoroshi is Osoroshii. Nights, I think you know how to spell. And I also want to just give this a second to shout out to all of my members, which this time I know how to do it. Last time I searched for how to do that and I could not find my members by switching between the studio accounts. Now I can, and I had 3 people join on stream last night, and you guys don't show up for one whole day, so I won't be able to say your names because it won't show up yet. But what I do want to do is shout out the people I do know. Hold on, let me get to all this. Members. Why is it not taking me again? Oh, here we go. I got it. I did it. Oh wait, it is showing the people who joined last night. Excellent. It's just not showing up on my count yet. Okay, so we got Timothy Kralik, me viewer 2, T-Dog, all 3 people who just joined last night during my stream. Thank you so much, guys. I don't know if you heard on the stream, but my house did go through Hurricane Helene, and I thought I was totally fine. My roof did well with it, but apparently my undercrawl is damaged to the point that I need over $5,000 worth of work on it. And that's taking a massive chunk out of my savings. So every member right now is really helping me out massively by, it's only $1.90 a month, but guys, this is every penny's going to count this year. Phil Moon, John Manbob, Chris Fallon, Thrustavius, who is at the Senpai level. Thrustavius, you are always our most honored member. Thank you so much for being at that level. Thomas 5K, Mitchell, Knox Leon, QCGZUMYWF, Sriracha, Javier Lucius, Dada HT, Luna Incola, Steve Ring, Conover Watley, Zoila Lulu, Jink 640, Blind Man Travels, Collective Commentary, John, oh my gosh, John, Han, your last name, I don't know how to say it. Well, thank you, Han. Mio, Max Ren, Oz Dev, Colton Kilpatrick, Alejandro Cisneros, blah, 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 Humble Monk, Andre Sanchez, Raymond, Jay, Aaron Spooner, Eviscerations, Ryan, Kaiser Grendel, Bridget, Carolyn Markey, Impressive Tony, who's been on the streams too. Thank you so much for joining. Matt Lee, Silver Stitch, Huesis Cosilius, Duraz Creates, Light Lolouch, Smile Kita 13, Worm Self, Chrissy Meow, Frorasu, Humble Judo Lord, Citrus, Fat Jaskins, Sprinkly Donut, Yodaru, Ricardo Contreras, Analoki, Slayer Duck, Jonas Slocum, Reinhardt or Die Trying, Treknik, I am Sandpaper, and guys, we are up to 60 members right now. I am floored by that fact that we have that many members, and you guys rock so much. I especially love when I see you guys join the stream. I do want to let you guys all know that the members Discord is being updated right now with all kinds of new badges and voice chat as well. We are somewhat looking into a Discord for viewers. We did have some trouble in the past with viewers getting into internal fights, so we are trying to figure out a way to run that in a more civil way. I guess every Discord group has its drama, but anyway, I thank you guys so much for dealing with the fact that I'm working between 2 channels, that I switched over my bank account and missed 1 week of seeing who my members were. we will eventually have everything running very smooth here once I get my house situation situated. And again, tonight I will be streaming probably 7:30, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or EDT. This is on Florida on the East Coast. If you want to join me, last night we just sat around and chat. Tonight we are going to be playing Phasmophobia. It has a lot of Japanese ghosts in it, like a good percentage of the ghosts are Japanese based. So we will be going over some of the lore of that while we play. I am playing with another channel known as Cursed Urban, who has done stuff in Japan with me in the past, such as the Sakura Matsuri and making Osoroshi Saturdays with me. And he knows his fair amount about Japan as well. Good guy. Always been a good friend IRL for a long time, since 2013. And we are looking for a few viewers to join us while we play. If you are interested and have the game Phasmophobia, it's not an outrageously expensive game. We will be having a stream where we invite those who want to join to come join the party to investigate ghost happenings. You will be probably asked to speak live. You will be on stream. We will hear your voice. So just, if you want to join, be ready that you maybe put on the spot to be asked some questions and stuff like that. And of course, participate in the investigation. Okay. Don't come to play if you don't have a mic. That game needs you to have a mic. Anyway, thank you for being so understanding with how channel videos are coming out and stuff like that. I know some people are confused about the streams that I have. If they're trying to take over the main videos I'm having, no, they never will. I will continue to do one viewer video every single week and one member video every single week. If I cut or paste or put down live stream stuff, that is just extra for the channel. And I thank you all for making that extra count. Until next time, I've been Unrested, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.